Hello and welcome to the Punk Wrestling Podcast. I am RM Punk and today is Thursday, which means we are going to be talking AEW and we are going to be talking NXT. What a night of wrestling. There is plenty to unpack here, plenty to talk about, good and bad, and we'll just get straight into it because there was so much going on. Tonight we're going to start with AEW. Last week I started with NXT. This week I'm going to start with AEW. I think we'll switch back and forth, see where people's attention lies, shall we say. Right, so AEW tonight started with Joey Janela versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. I really like the commentary team early on. They're referencing their independent wrestling history, like they've met on the indies quite a few times and this sort of stuff. It's nice little touches like that. I only took a few notes in this match. It was a good match. The dive from Darby, just the speed that Darby just flings himself through those ropes is just a sight to behold. There was some nice back and forth between the two. It ended after an Avalanche Code Red gets a 2 count, but the coffin drop puts Janela away for the 3 count. So this is like, you get this complaint a lot in indie wrestling. And I kind of see it both ways. Like, yes, the coffin drop is his signature move, but an Avalanche Code Red is a lot bigger move than a coffin drop. So which should finish the match in this scenario? Should it really be a 2? I don't know. You let me know what you think. I just personally wasn't a huge fan of it, but it was a very good match and I enjoyed it. Bit of a Moxley promo after that, reminding the world that he is actually a New Japan Pro Wrestling US champ. Now that they've got their deal going on between them, he's got the title on, which is a nice touch. It'd be nice if Triple A did that as well, because you've got Omega's also the Mega Champ, I believe. So you can have 2 belts there, and you get all the belts involved on AEW. Why not? But yeah, he says he wasn't surprised by Kenta showing up. Kenta's been running his mouth for 11 months or whatever it is. The title talk is over. On February 26th, they'll go one-on-one, but tonight is a bit of fun for the tag match later on. Next up, we got Guevara, who wants to talk to MJF privately. So he asks everyone to leave. They all do, including Wardlow. But Sammy asks the cameraman to stay. And I'll bring that up again a little bit later on. But yeah, he says that he watched last week, so he saw what happened last week. He knows what he's doing, that MJF is trying to take over the Inner Circle. MJF says, I thought you were just jealous of me, my and Jericho's friendship and all this, and you not being the star. But no, you don't like Jericho. You want to be the leader. You want to be in charge. And Sammy's like, well, you want me to say that? You want me to say I don't like Jericho and I want to be main event? And MJF goes, yeah, that's exactly what I want you to say. And he gets his phone. And Sammy's like, you've been recording, and destroys the phone and attacks MJF. So, let me get this right. Sammy has asked for the cameraman to be there, so he knows it's going to be recorded and on AEW. However, he gets angry that MJF has done a recording on his phone. You tell me. Next up, you had Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi versus Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson, with Double A Arn Anderson at their side. Side note, I don't know if you noticed, but Arn Anderson's trending on Twitter currently. The reason behind that, if you don't know, is WWE put a tweet out saying, who out of these has the best spinebuster? And you had, a Drew McIntyre. Oddly enough, didn't have Bobby Lashley, even though he has a really good one. I think it was MVP there. Definitely Ron Simmons, The Rock, Triple H. The notable names, but obviously Arn Anderson wasn't on that list. And Twitter just went, well, it's Arn, isn't it, really? So, I get why he wasn't included, but WWE sometimes just shoot themselves in the foot here. Don't put a thing out saying who's got the best spinebuster if you're not going to include the person who has the best spinebuster. who's a very notable figure in the competition. Anyway, it was an okay match. Felt like a bit of filler. Nothing special here, really. At least on my side of it. Like, I don't know the backstory there, where I'm quite a new fan to AEW. Lee won the match with a roll-up. Does look like Cody might have injured his shoulder in the match. Hopefully he's doing okay. Any updates, I'll let you know. But yeah, Lee won the match with a roll-up. You get all hyped up at the end. The commentary were hyping that this is Lee's first victory in AEW. After match, Tony interviews Lee and says, you know, he was 0-29 last year, but thanks to the Rhodes, they've done this as a family. They've worked together, and he's working hard, and he'll get there. And it's all because of them. Nice little promo, nice little match. You know, not everything's going to be like wall to wall craziness, is it? Next up, we've got a Young Bucks interview. They get interrupted by the Good Brothers. Young Bucks are like, well, it's your fault that we were eliminated early in the match and all this. Some way or another, it ends up the Young Bucks are going to be going to be facing Santana and Ortiz for the titles next week. The Good Brothers are just asking for 2 sweets throughout. Mention the Wolfpack as they're leaving. Anderson's like, oh, we'll sting 2 sweet me. They just don't give a fuck, let's be honest. They're having a bit of a laugh, and it's good to see. It was entertaining. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. they're not employed by AEW. So we got a thing with Paige. Paige says that him and Hardy aren't a tag team. Hardy comes in and is like, I know you don't want to be a tag team, but we are special together. Let's celebrate. I've booked a bar. Drink as much as you like. All on me. Big money night. Paige is like, well, I'm not going to turn down a drink. So, yeah. We'll go for a drink. Paige leave it. He's like, I'll just go get something. He bumps into the Dark Order, and there's that awkward, like an X thing. Like, yeah, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna go have a drink with Matt, and they're all. It was an interesting little segment. Next up, you had the Bastard Pack versus Little Ziggs, Ryan Namath, Dolph Ziggler's little brother. Unsurprisingly, Pac was pretty dominant in this. Pac is booked very strong. There wasn't a huge amount to this match. Pac won fairly easily. We had a bit of a recap of last week's wedding. God no, can we just get off that? At the end, I liked the little segment. They had Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor drinking champagne on a sofa, and they're just like, what did they think was going to happen? Obviously, Cassidy's going to come out with a cake. You're going to have a wedding on TV. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? And they're right in that. So a little bit smarky comment, shall we say. Jericho's ready for his match. MJF comes out with rib tape on, saying Sammy did this and he might have broken his rib. You have Jericho and MJF versus the Acclaimed in tag team action. So the Inner Circle come out. Judas is playing. Everyone is singing. It's a tune. I get it. But despite they're meant to be heels, so some people should be booing them, not just singing because it's Judas. At least in my opinion. But there we go. MJF whining about his ribs at the beginning of the match, basically avoiding combat early on. Classic heel work throughout from MJF and Jericho until there's a abdominal stretch where MJF is holding on to Jericho behind the referee's back to get the extra leverage. You know, classic spot really there. And once Aubrey eventually realises that that's happening, she kicks MJF's arm, which I thought was nice. Acclaimed get a bit of a comeback off of that after the ref help. But in the end, they hit Jericho with a boombox off a lion salt attempt. I can't talk today. I apologise for that. We'll carry on, shall we? But in the end, Jericho wins with Judas Effect. The Inner Circle are celebrating. Sammy's music hits. He comes down. Basically, he quits the Inner Circle and he walks down the face tunnel. Yeah. All right. Cool. Face turn for Sammy. See how that one goes. I don't think he's that likable, but you know, we'll see how that one goes. Sammy's leaving the arena. He says he needs to refocus, wants time away from this place. So we'll see what's going on there. We cut to Adam Page and Matt Hardy drinking in a bar. Page is absolutely smashed. Hardy is pretending to drink and throwing the drink away. Says, you know, to Page, I know you don't want to be a tag team, but I think with me you could be a true star, you could be a millionaire. Just for 30% of earnings. Page signs the contract. He's like, yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Absolutely smashed. Hardy cuts the cameraman and's like, yeah, I wanted you here because when he sobers up, he might be angry that he's done this, but I just need visual evidence that he did in fact sign this contract. So we'll see where that one's going. I wonder what the contract's going to entail. Yeah. We had an interview with Sting, or a scheduled interview with Sting, which Taz straight away cuts off before Sting even talks. They're in an SUV, they're going for a road trip, and they've got someone with them, and you've got Darby Allin in a body bag, which is tied to the back of the car, and they drive off with the body bag riding along the pavement. Flashbacks of the coffin with Big Show and Bossman, but no, okay, taking me on a journey here tonight, I'll tell you that. Next up, you've got Marvez has found Kenny Omega at the golf course earlier today. They're playing golf. Don Callis is cheating to make it look like Omega's winning. Marvez is like, shouldn't you be training, like preparing for your match? And Omega's like, well, I've already proved I'm the best. Like, I don't miss, I don't lose. I forgot what losing is. It was okay. Again, weird bit of silliness going on. It's AEW's forte, isn't it? Good wrestling, silly wrestling, bit of everything. There's something, anyone who watches AEW, there's something you'll like, and there's probably something you won't like. I think that's where I'm coming with it. I don't love everything that's on the show. However, some of the wrestling is great. Some of the funny stuff is actually funny. So whichever way you swing towards, then you're going to find something you like. What was it, as I said the other day? Just the right amount of silly bollocks. That's what we're looking for. Next up, you had legit Layla Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa in the first round of the women's tournament, the US bracket. The Japanese bracket is airing on YouTube, so I'll try and check out as much of that as I can. It was a decent match here. No shocks in the first round here. Rosa wins in a competitive match. It was alright. It was a good match. There wasn't like any big notes that I put for this, but that was partly because of sitting outside. But it is what it is. Jungle Boy is speaking with Tony, wants to speak to FTR. He'd never been in a fight like he was with them, but he came out on top, and he didn't want them suspended. He didn't snitch to the bosses about them. He wants to face them, and Jurassic Express is going to take them on and beat them. Pretty much, all good. Main event time. Now, if you're an Attitude fan like me, you'll like this. I'll go through some of the spots. This was absolutely nuts and is worth checking out if you like silly bollocks and weapons. It was a tornado tag, falls count anywhere, no DQ match. Kenta and Omega versus Mox and Archer with Jake the Snake at ringside. Starts off the match, Kenta has his briefcase, which is a briefcase for a title shot at the New Japan Pro Wrestling US Championship. Obviously, since the pandemic, Moxley wasn't able to go and drop the title, as he probably would have. And so Kenta's basically been using it for the year as the title. He's been defending it in matches in New Japan, and now the deal's done that he can come over to the US. We can get this story going. It will probably end up with Kenta getting the title back, and bringing it back to Japan at some point. But let's enjoy the ride while we're there, shall we? So he's got the briefcase. To start, he hits Kenta hits Moxley with the briefcase. There's tension between Kenta and Omega straight away as they're both just trying to beat up Moxley. They eventually start working together, beating him. You get a trash can gets involved. There's a trash can moonsault from Omega onto Moxley, which was really nice. There's a ladder introduced. There's two refs, so that they can split off into different directions. I started writing down this match needs 2 refs, and then I noticed there was. There was fighting in the kitchen. There was a steel table spot in the kitchen, which obviously the tables had wheels in the kitchens, as they would. And the ref is clearly holding the tables in place so that Moxley and Kenta can do their spot. But there we go. That gets broken up when Lance Archer hits Kenta with a box of potatoes. Yes, potatoes, guys. That's the new weapon that's the new cool weapon we've got today. There were a few more potato spots. Moxley hit quite a few people with potatoes. And not the normal type. I just got the reference. Hey. There was a recap of the match so far during the match, and I don't mean just like a replay, like a proper recap, as this has happened so far. This recapping the spots that had already happened. During that recap, they moved locations. Kenny and Moxley are heading back to the ringside. It's kendo stick time. There's a V trigger. He puts Mox on the table with the V trigger. Archer and Kenta are fighting on the stage. Kenta just sidesteps Archer, runs off the stage and does a double stomp onto Moxley on the table. Archer breaks the kendo stick over his knee, does a tightrope walk moonsault. That's lovely, lovely stuff. The Good Brothers then get involved. Then Jake does a short arm clothesline to Anderson. Looks like Kenny's going to hit the V trigger on Jake the Snake. That gets broken up by barbed wire baseball bat from Moxley. But then Kenta hits the JTS on Moxley. Moxley goes out the ring. The Good Brothers hit a magic killer on Archer. Kenny hits a V trigger and an assisted one wing angel for the win. Kenta, interestingly, is just still beating up Moxley, not celebrating with the rest of them at all. In a word, that was nuts. Absolutely crazy. It was a good show. Like I said, there's a lot of silly bollocks, but I like a bit of silly bollocks. So it was fun. There was some good matches in there. Little bit of filler, but nothing too much. A lot of backstage segments, but it was enjoyable. I had a good time with it. Made my morning as I watched this in the morning. I watched NXT a bit last night, a bit in the morning. Doing this in the UK is interesting for your sleep patterns. That's all I have to tell you on that one. Alright. We will be moving on to NXT. So, NXT, shall we? This was also a very good show. We had a very good night of wrestling, shall we say. It started off with MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. At the beginning, Beth is hyping this up to no end, saying we're going to be seeing things we've never seen before. A little bit too much, but it was a very good match. Barring one little moment. And I want your opinion on this one, guys. Did the Bronco Buster always look that crap? Or is MSK just really bad at it? Because I used to think it was quite funny and kind of amusing. But he's so far away from the opponent he's doing the Bronco Buster on. It doesn't look like a Bronco Buster. It looks like he's just jumping up and down above him. I just one bit that takes me out of it. However, except for that, it was a very quick paced tag match. But would you expect any different with the teams involved? There was a nice leapfrog drop kick from Wild. There was lots of dives, lots of moonsaults, lots of fast-paced action to get us in a good mood to get the match started, get the day started, shall we? MSK did win in the end. It was their best match in NXT so far, in my opinion. But the styles of the two competitors made this a very good match. NXK go through to the final. Next up, we have Xia Li in action. And her entrance is straight out of Mortal Kombat. Just need to get the music going. Dun, 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 dun. Boom. Yeah, it's straight out of Mortal Kombat. I'm enjoying it though. I didn't catch the name of who she was fighting, so I apologise for that one. Casey and Kaden Carter get involved pretty early on, come out and be like, this isn't you, Xia, this isn't you. Xia completely dismantled the opponent. After the match, Casey and Kaden carry on. And like, this isn't you. Kaden goes up to Mei Ling and is like, what have you done to her? What have you done to her? This isn't her. She's not like this. And Xia Li runs up, throws Kaden Carter off the stage, and is like, look, I'm sorry, this won't happen again. I'm sorry. The leader gets Boa in a choke, like a finger under the neck choke, like and so Xia goes and takes a Casey out, and Mei Ling relinquishes the choke and lets her go. Interesting segment. I like what they're doing with Xia Li. Despite I will always make Mortal Kombat references. She may look like Chun-Li, but this is something out of Mortal Kombat. Backstage, we get Regal saying he's got important business to attend to as he enters his office, but Scarlett's there laying on top of his desk, as you do. Says that Escobar's time is up next week. Escobar. So Regal says done. Yep. So next week we've got Escobar versus Karrion Kross. All for that. Should be a good match. Escobar might be able to carry Kross to a good match, shall we? I'm not a huge fan of him, but there we go. The package is nice, but in the ring he's not that great. We've got Gargano in a wheelchair. So a little recap, on Twitter, Austin Aries posted that Gargano was injured out of the match at Vengeance Day, so Austin was going to face Kushida tonight. The way carry out Johnny into the ring, like carry him because he can't walk, put him on the corner. Wade says that he's unable to walk due to a broken arm. Right, got ya. I'm beginning to think this might not be a serious injury, guys. I think there might be a work going on here. There's lots of overacting by Johnny. He takes the mic. He was injured due to the attack of Kushida. He can't, they watched the attack last week. Candice covers Gargano's eyes. He has 4 fractures in his arm. He swings his arm when he walks, which is why he can't walk. Can't compete. Oh, yeah. He says he can't walk. And, you know how much he hates wheels. So this is just even worse. He's got to be in a wheelchair. Interesting. So he can't compete. Vengeance Day. Kushida should be suspended. Regal comes out. Just is not having any of it. You're a fool. You were cleared yesterday by the doctors. Johnny brings up an X-ray. Regal's like, that's not you. For a start, it's got the R there. That means right arm. That's your left arm. Fucking idiot. He didn't say fucking idiot, but you could see it. You could feel it. And he says, I'm having none of it. You're either surrogating the title to Austin Theory, and Austin Theory will face Kushida tonight for the title in your place, or you will give up the title right now. And Guy goes, no. Look, I've got it. Big comeback. Like, a couple of weeks, I'll be great. We'll have a video package. Big comeback. Hey, returning hero. All this. Regal's like, well, whatever it is, I'm going to have to speak with Kushida about it as well. And it cuts to the ring, and Kushida is behind them, and they don't realise, and they're just, he's there, and Regal's like, Kushida-san, what do you think? And Johnny's like, why are you talking to us? Kushida's not here. And Theory is like talking with Kushida, and is like, yeah. Oh. And then Kushida takes him out. It was good. Ended with Kushida knocking Gargano over his wheelchair. It was an alright segment. It was funny. Next up, we had The Way versus Shotzi and Moon. I like that Shotzi and Moon have actually customized their ring gear. They've got half shirts, so one says Shotzi. It's like half Ember Moon shirt, half Shotzi black shirt. It's not like proper ring gear, but it's something. And they've obviously been putting some work in as well. They did a lot of tag team offense in this. It was good stuff. It was a very good match. There was a nice springboard head scissors from Candice to the outside, which was nice. There was a nasty looking dive from Candice. I'm guessing that Shotzi was too far away, and then Candice slowed down, not sure whether to go for it or not. And then she obviously, because she didn't have enough momentum, she's definitely not going to make it. Ended with Ember hitting the Eclipse on Candice, who wasn't the legal woman. Shotzi goes for a top rope senton onto Candice, but Indy Hartwell, who is legal, saves Candice by covering herself over Candice and takes the full brunt of the senton, so Shotzi just pins Indy for the win. The result wasn't really in doubt here, at least not in my mind. I was like, well, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are through to the final. It should probably be a face team that goes through. Shotzi and Ember are two people who obviously, the company is looking towards. Shotzi is featured a lot, so it made sense. After the match, Regal announces that the winner will get a tag team title shot. I like this. I actually hope that one of them does win it. I think it would be nice, and I think I've said this before on videos, that I think it'd be a nice way to get some exposure to the NXT girls, and also just have the actual tag team titles defended everywhere. It'd be good. I think it'll be a good shot. So we'll see. The winner of that, I'll do my prediction soon, and I'll let you know what I think. Ciampa and Thatcher basically say that, they're going to teach them a lesson, and lesson's over. Thatcher smiles at the end in such a way, it just completely popped me. I think there's GIFs about it on the internet. It was just great. It was lovely. Nice little promo, nothing special. Escobar says that time is relative and sends Legado del Fantasma after Cross. He's coming across so confident, I really like his package. Escobar is a star to keep an eye on. I think he's going to be big. But yeah, he sends some Phantasma to go take out Cross. We'll see how that one goes, though. There was a very good video package for Finn versus Pete. It was a good package. Watch it. Next up, we had Kushida versus Theory. By the way, Gargano can walk again now. Just so you know. His legs work again. He starts distracting straight away. Kushida's focusing on the arms throughout the early goings, and again later on. Ends up with Gargano causing a DQ with a super kick to Kushida when Theory was in an armbar on the apron. Gargano magically pulls his arm out of his sling. Look, I can move my arm. Woo! We didn't see that one coming. They start beating down Kushida. Kushida's in the ring. And Theory's about to go in the ring, but gets dragged under the ropes. Under the ring. I wonder who that could be. Gargano is pulling on Theory's arms. And then all of a sudden it's not Theory anymore. It's Dexter Lumis. He spooks everyone. Kushida hits the hoverboard lock on Theory, followed by Gargano. Dexter gets involved, hits a submission on Theory, and Dexter is staring down Kushida at the end. Kushida also picked up the title. Very bad luck. Hopefully that doesn't mean he doesn't win on Sunday, but maths should be taken note if you're thinking about who's going to win what. We cut to backstage, and Legado del Fantasma are taking a nap. No surprises there. Cross comes up, says, next week I'm going to do what I did to them. Yeah. Simple, direct. He's coming for Escobar next week. Next, we have a very interesting segment indeed. There's a car horn going off, and you can hear some revving, and it's a white Lamborghini, and in that white Lamborghini is none other than Cameron Grimes, flashing all the cash in his new brown suit. He's handing money out to everyone. I believe Wade called him a bumpkin millionaire or bumpkin billionaire. I thought he said pumpkin, and I was like, no, it's got to be bumpkin. Shit, clearly. He cuts a promo, says Thatcher took him out, so he went home and thought about what he was going to do to Thatcher, and he's going to cave him in. But he had some downtime too. He didn't train all the time. He was playing video games. He found out video games were good, and they were cool. But then he ran out of games to play, so he had to go to GameStop. And he found it was great. He loved it. So he put his money into GameStop, and now he's rich. And then he found this other thing called Dogcoin, and now he's even more rich. So he's like, no one can tell me nothing. I'm rich. I've got all this money. I don't know what to do. Regal can kiss my grits. Me versus Timmy Thatcher, kiss my grits. He was going full flare promo at this point. He's taking his jacket off, taking his hat off, strutting his stuff. I was half expecting him to start elbow dropping the coat, but no, he throws the money on the floor and starts making snow angels in the money. Okay, NXT is about exploring new characters and finding your character that works. Let's go for millionaire bumpkin Cameron Grimes. It was amusing. I found it funny. Gargano gets a kind of promo, basically says, yes, Kushida versus Gargano is happening on Sunday, but you should have left it without, because I'm going to remind everyone that I'm Johnny freaking Takeover. That was the point of that promo. Also throughout the night, there was promo packages for the women's triple threat match between Mercedes, Toni Storm and Io Shirai. Again, I will tell you what I think about that, but the packages were good. I will tell you what I think is going to happen on another video. We've got Ciampa and Thatcher versus Grizzled Young Veterans. I was looking forward to this match, and it didn't really disappoint me at all. It was a good match. During Liverpool's number one trash talk, Ciampa and Thatcher just start beating them down before the match even starts. But during the match, Grizzled Young Veterans took out Ciampa with an apron powerbomb, which left Thatcher isolated for a long period of the match. Once Ciampa does get back into the match, and I like this spot, it was like Drake saw that Ciampa was getting up, tried to go and attack him before he could get up to the apron, but Ciampa just has none of it, makes the tag, is on fire for a little while. Drake hits a whisper in the wind off of Ciampa onto Thatcher, who's on the apron at one point, which was really nice. Then hit a Doomsday Device on Ciampa. In the end, Ticket to Mayhem gives Grizzled Young Veterans the win. It's the right decision here. Ciampa and Thatcher are not really a tag team. It's something for them to do in the Dusty Classic, let's be honest. It's nice to actually have two tag teams in the final. So the final will be MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans for the Dusty Cup. This was a very good hard-hitting match to end the show. There was a quick face-off between the different competitors for Vengeance Day on Sunday, which I am now very much looking forward to. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day. Goodbye.